Hey, how's everyone doing today? I hope everyone's having a good day so far. I came across this post by Jordan Swartz on Dribble. It's this Stay Wild neon typographical piece that I thought was really cool. I really liked how he had these white lines showing death with the shadow on top of the bigger font in the background. So I wanted to kind of just make it a tutorial because it really inspired me to make one. And before we get into it, I want to recommend you guys check out Jordan Swartz. They have really cool logos and typographical pieces that I think you guys would find very inspirational. So if you like this stuff, I'll definitely put his link in the description so you guys can see more of it. So getting into the tutorial, we're going to start with our canvas. So my canvas is going to be 1280 by 720 with a resolution 300 and RGB color mode. Once that's done, I'm hit create. And I'm just going to unlock my background layer. Just force to have it. First thing I'm going to do is add a solid color layer. And I'm going to make this my background color, which is going to be F0 FAEC. Kind of a very, very light green, almost white color background. Next, I'm going to add a new layer. So this is where we're going to add our text. So I'm going to be using two fonts today, and they're both going to be in the description if you would like to download them so you can follow along. If you do want to use these fonts for commercial reasonings, I definitely recommend getting in contact with the designers of these fonts and getting a license for them to be used. They are allowed for personal use and for educational use as well. So this is why I'm showing these fonts. So with that in mind, I'm going to change my font to be Intro, Inline, Regular. And I'm going to change the green, and I want to make sure it's going to be this one right here, A2EEAE. Once that's done, I'm going to hit OK. And I'm just going to write Minty. And then I'm going to drag it sort of in the middle. I'm just going to resize it right now and adjust it. Once that's done, I'm just going to hit my pad selection tool to select out of that. And I'm hit Control T. If you're on Mac, remember you want to hit Command instead. And I'm just going to align it towards the middle. And press Enter. So once that's done, I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to name it Line because we're going to be drawing some lines underneath it. So once that's complete, I'm going to want to move this layer underneath our text layer and go to our brush tool. You could also press B as a shortcut. You want to make sure the hardness is set to 100%. And you want to change the color of the brush to something very bright that you can see underneath, because we're essentially going to be filling in these gaps right here. So now that that's complete, you can kind of start tracing them. So feel free to take your time. I'm kind of just going to go a little fast. And it doesn't matter as long as you cover the whole gap right here, because we're going to be cleaning that up right now. So once that's complete, there we go. So once that's complete, you can actually just turn off this eyeball right here, and you can see how wonderful you did. So now we're going to clean it up a little bit more. So while you're holding Control, you're going to want to select the T in your text layer. That's going to select all this text. Next, you're going to want to make sure the lines layer is still selected, and you're going to want to hit Delete or Backspace. Once you want to see that, you're not going to see any change right now until you turn off this eyeball. You can see how clean those lines look. Now, you want to press Control D to deselect those layers. And there you go. So you have very clean lines. So next, you're just going to want to move those up. And now we're going to double click on this layer. Open up our layer styles. So we're just going to change the color and make the lines just a little bit thicker. So we're going to begin with color overlay, and we're going to make sure it's going to be F4 DB. That's going to be the color we're going to be using. Once that's done, you press OK. And we're going to go over to stroke, and we're going to add a stroke. Make sure the size is set to 3 and the position is set to center, and the color is also F4 DB. So at this point, it becomes personal preference to what you want, how thick you want them, or if you want them outside, that'll still make them a little bit thicker as well. But for now, I'm just going to go with these are the settings I went with, but you're more than welcome to use your own size if you think they look better, bigger or thinner. Once that's done, you want to hit OK. Next, you want to right click on that same layer and click Rasterize Layer Style. This is important because we're going to add a drop shadow now. By double clicking there, opening the layer style panels, hit the drop shadow, and we're going to have the drop shadow color be 82 D790. So you just want to make sure you rasterize the layer style beforehand, because if we didn't, that drop shadow would be thinner because it's going to use the information based off the thinner lines before we added the stroke. So that's why you want to make sure you rasterize the layer style before jumping into the drop shadow again. So once that's done, Make sure the color is correct. Your angle set to 43 degrees and your distance is 17%. Just keep in mind that if you have a different size canvas, these parameters might need to be changed depending on your canvas, because you might have bigger or smaller text. So these are the ones I did with my canvas at the moment. Once it's done, I hit OK, and there we go. Once that's complete, I'm gonna go to my minty text layer, and I'm gonna also add a stroke. So the reason I'm doing this one is I want to make the letters a little bit more softer. And the way I'm going to do this is by changing the color. Just I'm going to make it match the text color at the moment. And the size I need it to be 3, and this time the position is going to be outside. All this is going to do is kind of just create a stroke outside of it, and it's going to make the edges a little bit more rounder, more playful, as opposed to a more sharper and more serious look. So once that's done, I hit OK and go to my next layer, and all I'm going to do is create a new layer on above that. And this is where the second font's going to come in, Antro Vectra. And I'm going to want Antro Vectra bolder. I'm going to change the color of this one before I start typing anything. This one is going to be FF9F1C. It's going to be kind of an orangey yellow. And I'm going to write fresh. Once that's done, I'm just going to Control T, retransform it and move it towards the middle. And you can make it whatever size you want. I'm gonna make it just a little bit bigger, just so that it covers more of the area. And then just align it to the middle again. Once that's done, I'm gonna hit enter. I'm going to go back to my text tool and hit this little option over here for warp text. I'm gonna give it a rise of about 10%. That's complete. I'm gonna hit Control T again so that I can adjust it again in the middle. Once that's done, there you go. And the last step I'm gonna be doing is moving that fresh layer right in the middle, so that the green minty text is the bottom layer, the fresh is in the middle, and the lines layer is at the very top, casting a shadow underneath. But other than that, that's gonna be the entire tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll try to get a response to you as quickly as possible. But I know if I don't, the design community is really great and wholesome. So I know somebody else will give a solution. And if you guys think there's a better way to do certain thing I did, definitely let me know. Because I mean, Photoshop is such a unique tool that you can do one thing a million ways. So other than that, have a good rest of your day.